You've been told that once you make it, once the money, the recognition, the dream job are yours, you'll finally feel complete. But then, you get there, and the emptiness hits harder than you ever expected. This video is going to break down why success alone won't give you happiness, and what will. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The goal you're chasing right now, that vision that's keeping you up at night, the one you swear will finally make you feel whole, it won't. You think once you hit it, the world will open up, your shoulders will drop, your smile will be permanent, and all the noise in your head will disappear. But when you finally get there, something strange happens. The satisfaction is real, but it's temporary, and almost instantly, your mind starts whispering, "What's next?" It's like climbing a mountain and expecting to find paradise at the top. But when you finally stand on that peak, you see another, taller one in the distance. You tell yourself you'll rest, but you don't. You start planning the next climb, and the cycle continues. This is the trap of the achievement illusion, believing that the next milestone will be the one that finally brings lasting happiness. The truth is, your brain is wired for pursuit. It's the chase that fires you up, that creates the rush. You think you're addicted to winning, but you're actually addicted to the moment before you win. The anticipation, the hustle, the sleepless nights when you can feel success getting closer, that's when you're most alive. But once you cross the finish line, the fireworks fade faster than you expect. That's why you can hit every goal you've ever set and still feel restless inside. The danger is, we start raising the bar without even realizing it. You thought making a certain amount of money would be enough. Then you get there, and suddenly the number in your head doubles. You thought buying that dream house would be the final level. Then you start thinking about a bigger one, in a better neighborhood. The goalpost moves again and again, and you don't even notice because you're too busy running toward it. And this is where a lot of people burn out. They keep chasing and chasing, wondering why the joy they imagined is never as big as the picture they painted in their mind. They convince themselves they just need to win bigger, faster, harder. But that's like trying to quench your thirst by drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you get. When you're in the achievement illusion, you measure your worth by the size of your next win. You're not chasing because you want the thing. You're chasing because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. You're scared that without the grind, without the title, without the applause, you'll lose your identity. That fear keeps you running, even when your legs are tired and your heart is heavy. The illusion is powerful because it does give you moments of joy. The problem is they're fleeting. You hit a goal, you post about it, people congratulate you, and for a while, you feel invincible. But soon the rush wears off, and the silence creeps back in. And if you're not careful, you start to believe the lie that the emptiness means you didn't aim high enough. So you set a new goal, a bigger goal, and the cycle starts over. Here's the raw truth: you can win the game and still feel like you're losing. You can achieve everything you once dreamed of and still feel like something's missing. And until you understand that success in itself isn't designed to keep you happy, you'll keep running in circles. Most people live like happiness is this far off land you only reach once the map is complete, once every goal is checked off, every problem is solved, and every dream is perfectly in place. They treat it like a final chapter that only comes after the struggle, as if the right amount of achievement, money, or recognition is the magic door that opens into a lifetime of joy. But that's the biggest lie we've been sold. Happiness isn't a destination you arrive at after the journey, it's a state you carry with you during the journey. Think about how many times you've said to yourself, "I'll be happy when? I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when my bank account hits this number." And maybe you even hit those milestones. You got the job, you hit the number, you transformed yourself, and for a little while, you felt that buzz, that temporary glow. But eventually, it faded. The high wore off, and you found yourself chasing the next. "I'll be happy when." That's because happiness tied to achievement is always temporary. It's dependent on conditions that are constantly changing. The truth is, happiness is a skill, not a reward. If you can't access it now, in the middle of the climb, you won't magically unlock it at the top, because life at the top still comes with problems. They're just different problems. That's the part nobody tells you. You think once you arrive, the road will be smooth, but there will always be bumps, always be storms, always be moments where you feel lost. If you don't know how to find joy in the middle of chaos, you won't know how to find it when you're surrounded by comfort. We've been conditioned to delay happiness until everything is perfect. But perfect never comes. There will always be something missing, something you're still working toward, something that didn't turn out exactly how you imagined. If you're waiting for the conditions to line up before you let yourself feel good, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. You'll keep postponing joy, thinking the next chapter will be the one where it finally begins. But the pages will keep turning and you'll realize you never really lived any of them. The people who are truly happy aren't the ones who've eliminated all their problems. They're the ones who've learned to live with them without letting them steal their peace. They've learned to find gratitude in the little things, to slow down enough to notice the moments that most people rush past. They don't need the big wins to feel alive because they've mastered the art of seeing beauty in the process. And that's the real secret. Happiness is found in the small, unremarkable moments you usually overlook because you're too focused on the next big thing. When you believe happiness is waiting for you somewhere in the future, you're always running toward a moving target. By the time you reach what you thought was the finish line, it's already shifted. You tell yourself, "Once I get here, I'll relax. Once I achieve this, I'll slow down." But slowing down is a choice you can make today, not a prize you win later. The same goes for happiness. It's something you create in the middle of the grind, not something that magically appears after it's over. The most dangerous part of treating happiness like a destination is that it blinds you to what you have right now. You could be living moments today that you'll one day look back on and realize were the best of your life. But if your eyes are always locked on the horizon, you'll miss them entirely. You'll keep telling yourself the good part is coming later, when in reality, it might already be here. When you understand that happiness is not the end goal, but the foundation you build everything else on, your entire approach to life changes. You stop chasing it and start practicing it. You stop postponing it and start creating it in every step of the journey you're on right now. There's a strange kind of silence that follows a big win. You spend months, maybe years, pushing toward a goal. Every ounce of your focus, every spare moment, every late night and early morning is poured into it. You imagine the celebration, the flood of satisfaction, the moment where you can finally breathe and say, I made it. But when the dust settles, the confetti is swept away, and the applause fades, something unsettling creeps in, an emptiness you didn't expect. It's not that the achievement wasn't real, or that the moment wasn't exciting. It's that the feeling doesn't last. You thought reaching the top of the mountain would be the ultimate rush, but instead, it feels oddly quiet, almost hollow. That's the truth. Most people don't talk about success. Without meaning leaves you with an empty victory. You can have the trophy in your hand and still feel like you lost something along the way. This happens because the chase gives you something the destination can't, a sense of purpose. While you were working toward the goal, you had direction. You knew what your days were for. Every action felt like it mattered because it was part of something bigger you were building. But when you finally get the thing you were chasing, that constant push disappears, and if the goal was your only source of meaning, the space it leaves behind can feel like a void. People assume the high will last forever. They think winning the award, getting the deal, or hitting the number will permanently change how they feel inside. But the human mind adapts quickly. What was once thrilling becomes normal, and normal doesn't excite you. That's why so many people achieve something incredible and then fall into a slump. It's not that the achievement wasn't enough. It's that the achievement was never designed to keep you fulfilled. Fulfillment comes from alignment, not just accomplishment. When the work you're doing connects to something deeper, a value you hold, a mission you believe in, a cause that matters to you, then the victory carries weight. But if the goal is purely about status, money, or proving someone wrong, it might give you a short-term rush, but it won't give you long-term satisfaction. You'll win the game, but the win won't mean much beyond the scoreboard. And the emptiness doesn't just happen to people who chase shallow goals. It can happen to anyone who doesn't slow down enough to understand why they're chasing what they're chasing. You might set a target because it sounds impressive, because it's what everyone around you is aiming for, or because you've been told it's what success looks like. You reach it, but when you look in the mirror, you realize it wasn't actually what you wanted. The applause doesn't fill the gap because deep down, it was never your dream. It was just the one you thought you were supposed to have. This is why so many high achievers struggle in silence after big wins. From the outside, it looks like they have everything, but inside, they feel lost. They don't talk about it because they think they're not supposed to feel that way. That feeling empty after success means they're ungrateful or broken. But it's not a flaw in them, it's a flaw in the belief that achievement alone is enough. The danger of the empty victory is that it can push you into a cycle of overachievement. You hit one goal, feel the hollowness, and assume the problem is that you didn't aim high enough. So you set a bigger goal, work even harder, and chase an even bigger win, only to find the same emptiness waiting for you on the other side. It's like running on a treadmill that never stops, trying to outrun a feeling that's coming from within, not from the size of the prize. The real power comes when you stop asking, "What can I achieve next?" and start asking, "Why does this matter to me?" Because when the meaning is clear, the victory is never empty. Even if no one else is clapping, even if no one else sees it, even if it doesn't look impressive from the outside. That's the difference between a win that fades and a win that fuels you for the rest of your life. You can build the biggest empire in the world, but if you're crumbling inside, that empire will feel like a prison. It doesn't matter how impressive your achievements look from the outside if the person living inside your own head is restless, insecure, or unfulfilled. The truth is, success can't fix what's broken within you. External wins can buy you comfort, options, and influence, but they can't rewrite the story you're telling yourself when you're alone at night. A lot of people think that once they make it, their self-doubt will vanish. They believe the recognition will erase years of insecurity, that the applause will drown out the negative voice in their head. And sure, it might work for a little while. The compliments feel good, the validation hits hard. But as soon as the moment passes, those old thoughts creep back in, because the root of the issue isn't the lack of success, it's the lack of inner peace. If you've ever felt like an imposter, even after proving yourself, you know what this means. You could have a room full of people telling you you're amazing, but if you haven't learned to believe it yourself, it won't stick. That's why so many people keep stacking achievements like bricks, hoping they can build a wall high enough to block out their self-doubt. But the truth is, those bricks won't hold if the foundation, your self-worth, is cracked. The internal game is about understanding that real fulfillment starts from the inside out. It's about learning how to be proud of yourself without needing anyone else to co-sign it. It's about being able to wake up in the morning and feel whole before you've checked your phone, before you've seen the numbers, before you've gotten that nod of approval from the world. Because if your happiness is always dependent on external circumstances, you're handing over control of your life to things you can't control. You've probably met people who seem to have everything you think you want: money, fame, power. But when you spend enough time around them, you realize they're miserable, they're anxious, bitter, maybe even resentful of the very success they worked for. That's because they built the outside without tending to the inside. They won the game the world was watching, but they were losing the game no one else could see. The dangerous part about ignoring the internal game is that you can hide from it for a long time. You can keep yourself busy enough with goals, deadlines, and wins that you don't have to sit with your thoughts. But the quiet moments always come, and when they do, if you haven't built that inner stability, the silence will feel heavy. You'll start looking for ways to distract yourself. More work, more noise, more anything, just to avoid facing yourself. When you focus on the internal game, you start realizing that external success is just a bonus, not the foundation. You stop needing every win to validate you. You stop chasing goals that don't align with who you really are. And the beautiful thing is, when you get the inside right, the outside often follows naturally. But even if it doesn't, you still feel whole. This isn't about being perfect. Inside, it's about being honest. Honest about your fears, your wounds, the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Honest enough to say, I need to work on this. Instead of hiding behind another achievement, it's not glamorous work. Nobody throws you a party when you heal old patterns or when you finally stop comparing yourself to everyone else. But those invisible wins are the ones that make the visible ones actually mean something. Because at the end of the day, it's not the size of your trophy case that determines your peace. It's the strength of your relationship with yourself. And if you haven't mastered that, no amount of success will ever feel like enough. There's a turning point in life when you realize that chasing success only for yourself eventually runs out of fuel. At first, the hunger to make it is enough. You want the lifestyle, the freedom, the proof that you could do it when others doubted you. And for a while, that works. The grind feels exciting because you can see the rewards piling up. But after a certain point, the victories don't hit the same. The cars, the vacations, the titles, they're nice, but they stop filling that deeper space inside you. That's when you start to understand that the real fulfillment comes when your success is no longer just about getting. It's about giving. When your wins start impacting more than just you, they take on a different weight. It's no longer about how much you can collect, but about how much you can contribute. You start looking at the resources, skills, and influence you've built and asking, how can this make someone else's life better? That's the shift that turns success from something temporary into something lasting. Because when you give, you create ripples that go far beyond your own lifetime. Think about it. The moments that stay with you the longest usually aren't the ones where you got something for yourself. They're the moments where you helped someone else win, where your actions opened a door for another person, where you saw your effort turn into hope for somebody who needed it. Those memories stick because they connect you to something bigger than your own story. The shift from getting to giving doesn't mean you stop working hard for your dreams. It means the reason you work changes. You're no longer climbing the mountain just to plant your own flag at the top. You're building a path so others can climb it too. You start to see your success as a platform, not just a prize. And that platform can be used to inspire, teach, support, or lift people who might not have the opportunities you did. The beautiful thing is, giving doesn't always mean some grand public gesture. Sometimes it's mentorship. Sometimes it's sharing your failures so someone else doesn't make the same mistakes. Sometimes it's quietly funding a project you believe in or using your voice to highlight a cause that matters. The form doesn't matter as much as the intention, that you're using what you've built to create something meaningful for others. There's a freedom that comes with this shift. When success is only about you, it's fragile. If you fail, you feel like you've lost everything. But when your success is tied to serving something beyond yourself, even your failures have purpose. You start to see setbacks differently. because you know the journey isn't just feeding your ego, it's fueling a bigger mission. That kind of purpose makes you resilient in a way personal gain never can. And here's the irony. The more you give, the richer your own life feels. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You build connections that money can't buy. You wake up with a sense of meaning that no achievement alone could ever provide. You start to see that the real scorecard of life isn't measured by what you've accumulated, but by the lives you've touched. It's in this shift that success stops being an endless chase and starts becoming a source of peace. Because now, every win is multiplied. It's not just your victory, it's a victory for everyone your work reaches. And that kind of success doesn't fade when the applause dies down. It grows, it spreads, and it keeps giving back long after the moment has passed. In the end, the truth is simple but uncomfortable. Success alone will never be enough to keep you happy. You can spend your whole life climbing the ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. The real work isn't just about reaching the top, it's about understanding why you're climbing in the first place. Happiness isn't hiding at the finish line, waiting for you to arrive. It's in the steps you take every day, in the moments you slow down enough to notice, in the growth you experience on the way up. Winning without meaning will always leave you feeling empty, because fulfillment doesn't come from the size of your achievements, it comes from the depth of your connection to them. If you don't take care of the person you are on the inside, no amount of external success will silence the voice in your head telling you it's not enough. And when you finally shift from chasing for yourself to building for others, success transforms into something much greater. Something that lasts, something that matters. The game isn't just about getting there. The game is about becoming the kind of person who can find joy, purpose, and peace no matter where there is.